Well, let's pivot back over to Washington here. As we said earlier, Bilal is actually hurt now, per Josh Robbins of The Athletic. Coulibaly will be sidelined for multiple weeks as he deals with an oblique injury. And, well, we're just past the first quarter of this season, and he's missed almost half the game so far. The team also ended the final month of last season without Bilal, and the same also applies to the season prior. Troy, I got to ask, how are you feeling about trying to gauge Bilal's development to this point?
Well, one of the things about his development is that they're going through the evaluation process, and when you look at player health, like that has to be something that gets marked down for him because he's pretty much had a serious injury almost every year that he's been a Wizard, and so I think that the fact that that they put so much responsibilities on him on the defensive end, and there are so many metrics out here that says he is one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. But I think that it's really also up to the Wizards to try to figure out better ways to get him involved in the offense. Like I don't think that he's like the guy that you can just put in the corner and tell him to spot up shoot because right now he doesn't have a lot of confidence in his jump shot. And so I would love to see the Wizards to try to continue developing him by putting him in the dunker spot, putting him and running different sets for him so that he can use his athleticism and attack the basket and kind of accentuate the skills that he already has instead of him making do stuff that that he still is trying to grow and develop.
And Greg, how do you think that this team should best approach developing Bilal going forward?
Yeah, I mean Troy mentioned it. Like he's now missed 28 of the team's last 41 games dating back to last season.
Sheesh.
Availability is the best availability, and he hasn't been available, which also hinders his development. So first and foremost, they need him on the court. Um, he's also played in competitions over the last 2 summers, and I'm sure that hasn't helped because he got injured this past summer at Eurobasket. Um, I think he needs to be able to shoot the ball. Like Troy mentioned, his superpower is his perimeter defense. Like you saw it against Giannis, you've seen it throughout his career. That's never been an issue, him having to guard the best player. Like him and Keyshawn are pretty clearly a very good on ball perimeter defenders. They have the size and the length on the wing to do that. Nobody's really concerned there. What's concerning is the dip in percentage, shooting percentage, the dip in scoring production over his first 3 seasons in the NBA. I mean, he started his rookie season shooting 34.6% from three, went down to 28% last season, and this season he's a little under 27%. The same regression can be seen in his field goal percentage, 43 to 42 to this year at 37 and a half. He's not getting better. He's actually getting worse, which is quite concerning. He averaged, I think it was like around 8 points his first year, then 12 last year, back down to 8.5 this year. So like you want to see that production, and no one really thought Bilal was going to be this like scoring machine when they drafted him. And I think once he gets an actual point guard, that'll help. That'll help most people on this team. But that is definitely a real concern. I think the better the players around Bilal, the better Bilal is. Like the more he can just settle into the role. You saw against the Bucks, like all they were really asked of him was like just defend Giannis and make it difficult. And he did an awesome job at doing that. I think the Wizards asked him to do a little bit too much in terms of like on ball creation, which he's not good at. So if he can just kind of settle into that, I'm going to be really good on the perimeter and taking away the best player. And if he can actually add a 3 point shot, he'll be fine. But number one, got to be on the court. And number two, he's got to shoot the ball better because if he doesn't, then nobody's going to respect him. That hurts his game, and it also hurts the Wizards' offense, in the process.
Yeah, that's definitely something I noticed watching the game the other day. That or the game against Philadelphia, because I noticed that they had Jared McCain on him as at points in that first half, and Jared McCain was sagging so far off of Bilal, like he was in his feet were in the paint, and Bilal was on the 3 point line. And so what that does, it clogs up the entire flow of the offense. It clogs up the floor, and there's not enough spacing for a guy like, because I saw Bub Carrington, like he had a pick and roll where he looked like he wanted to get to a spot, but there were just so many bodies in the way. Like I said, partly because Bilal's man was sagging so far off of him. So yeah, not his not only is the fact that his shooting percentage has gone down, but the teams aren't even respecting the fact that he's can take the jump shot. So they're just treating him like Tony Allen, like when he was with the Memphis Grizzlies. Like they just, they're playing 4 and 5. And just having his guy just be that that free safety who's able to kind of roam around, and so yeah, if the Wizards want to, really kind of utilize him as a prospect. Like I said, even if he doesn't turn into a 40% career 3-point shooter. Like they have to put him in different spots so that they can, so that he can use his athleticism. Sort of like what Houston does with a guy like Amin Thompson.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now for the team, what they're going to have a difficult time trying to balance is furthering his development while he's not on the floor. As Greg said, best ability is availability, and he just isn't available right now. And I think what's more worrisome for him is that these injuries are so varied. We've seen injury to the hand, we've seen injury to the leg, now the oblique. It's kind of all over the place. It's going to be very difficult for them to try to develop that, and that development is going to fall upon the coach.